Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. My name is Joyce Duriga. I'm editor of the Chicago Catholic, the newspaper for the Archdiocese, and this is where we go beyond the headlines to the people making the news in the Chicago Catholic. And today we're coming up on St. Patrick's Day in a few days, and today we have as our guest Maura Keller. She's from Old St. Patrick's Parish. Everybody knows Old St. Pat's, and they've got a big lineup of events coming along this weekend for St. Patrick's Day, and they just had a big event on Monday. So we're going to talk about that and the heritage of Old St. Pat's. So welcome, Maura, who I just found out your middle name is Bridget. So she's dressed in green and steeped in Irish heritage herself. So welcome.
I'm all ready. My birthday's the day before St. Bridget's Day, so I really think that kicks off the whole St. Patrick's Day season.
There you go. So for people who don't know, can you talk about, why Old St. Pat's is so steeped in Irish heritage?
Yes. So when Old St. Pat's was founded over 175 years ago, it was a church for Irish immigrants. And so our focus since then to this day has always been welcoming for not just the Irish, but for really immigrants of all types, people looking for a new home across Chicago. And I think that's really the Irish way. It's welcoming everyone in, it's making them a part of the family, it's taking the loss and the sorrow in stride with the happy times. And Old St. Pat's has really just been a beacon of that for so long. And each year when March comes around, they really find a new fantastic way to celebrate the heritage and celebrate the people that have created this incredible church and kept it going for the past 175 years.
It's really a wonderful, very energetic celebration. So you started with an event. Today's Wednesday, so you started with an event on Monday. I can't pronounce it, but it's a concert at downtown.
Yes. So that is Sheamsa na Gael, which is Irish for a celebration of Ireland. And it was just a beautiful night. We were so fortunate. We had an entire orchestra behind us, a 60-person choir that I was proud enough to be a part of, and then soloists from truly across the country. We had Chicago's own Catherine O'Connell, as well as a well-known musical theater performer in Chicago, Devin DeSantis. We also brought in Sierra Renee from Broadway. She originated the role of Esmeralda in The Hunchback of Notre Dame and sang one of those songs for us. It was just an absolutely gorgeous, really, really special night to kick off the week. And we talked all about St. Bridget. She was our theme last year to celebrate 1,500 years of Bridget. And we figured, you know what? We have more to tell of her story. Let's continue it for 1,501. And so we really focused on faith, hope, and love, which were truly the most important tenets that Bridget had taught us. And so through song and through storytelling and through dance, we continue to educate really the Chicago Irish and anyone else who joined us in that full theater that night about her incredible and lasting impact.
Well, it's a good time to talk about her. So last year, I mentioned we had done a story on this. It was the 1500th anniversary of, was it her birth or her death of St. Bridget? And can you tell people who she is? Some people may not know. God forbid,
yes.
But yeah.
Of course. St. Bridget is the female patron saint of Ireland. We're all very, very familiar with St. Patrick. But then roughly about 50 years after St. Patrick made his mark on Ireland, St. Bridget was around as well. She founded the first female monastery, is known as a Catholic saint, but also as like a pagan goddess. She's kind of in the myth of Ireland, but also in the realism of the Catholic Church. So she kind of has this beautiful aura around her, but really had the same heart and the same spirit as St. Patrick, one of inclusivity, one of welcoming. Her feast day starts the start of spring in Ireland. And I really feel like St. Patrick's Day in Chicago kicks off the start of spring in Chicago. It's when everyone says, whether it's going to be 65 or 40, we're here to come together as a city. We've survived another winter. So it was really special to get to celebrate her, to get to celebrate women in the church, and just talk about the great and lasting impact that she had, not just in Ireland, but really as a role model for women in the church 1,501 years later.
Can you tell, I'm interested, and I don't remember exactly, and forgive me, a little bit about her story. That's a long time. 1,500 years ago in Ireland, it would have been very kind of rustic, rudimentary. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So she was raised to a pagan chief, so had no religion in her family, found religion and decided that this is so important to me. I want to make sure this is spread throughout Ireland. Most importantly, I want to make sure that this is accessible to other women. And so spent her entire life trying to spread the good word, build her monastery in Kildare. One of her greatest stories is that she approached the king at the time and said, I would really like to start this monastery. Can I please have some land? And he said, I'm not really sure. And she's like, no, no, just give me as much land as my cape will cover. And he's like, yeah, sure, I can definitely do that. And so she had a couple of friends with her. They each grabbed an edge of her cloak and started walking, and it spread over 120 acres.
Wow.
And that was where she built her monastery in Kildare. And then she was able to convert many, many people in Ireland, one of the most important being her own father. On his
Wow.
deathbed, she knelt beside him, and then had gathered some pieces of straw and knit her own version of the cross, which we know as St. Bridget's cross, and talked to him just about the impact of God in her life. And his last dying wish before he passed was to be baptized as a Catholic, and then passed shortly after. So, truly an incredible impact, and something that she just came out with such kindness, with such an Irish heart. It was such a special story to tell.
And now you've continued that. So last year you had a bunch of celebrations, and I saw something on your site today. There's something about Lent with St. Bridget.
Yes. So, really, since the start of the year, we've had a plethora of Bridget programming, some specifically housed at Old St. Pat's. We've brought in speakers. We've connected Bridget to the history of Old St. Pat's. We have a gorgeous stained glass mural of her in the church. So, talking about really just the Irish impact, specifically Bridget, as well as partnering with other organizations. There was something called Taking Up St. Bridget's Mantle on Your Lenten Journey that happened last weekend at Morton Arboretum. It was not specifically through Old St. Pat's, but something we wanted to support, just knowing the nature of Bridget. And then we had our Sheems and Nagale, the concert, and then we'll really continue the music through the end of the week on Saturday morning for the past 70 years of the Chicago St. Patrick's Day Parade. Before everyone lines up at Columbus and Balbo, they first take time to say thank you to the Lord for this hopefully gorgeous spring day. And we have a really, really special celebration with bagpipers and Irish dancers, a full choir, all of the dignitaries across Chicago. I like to joke it's the best people watching from my spot in the choir, because you get to see the mayor talking to the governor, talking to the Secretary of State, and who's friends and who's not. But really nice that we take the time to acknowledge that, this is a celebration of a saint. There's so much to be thankful for here in Chicago, and to join with all those people together. We're going to sing some of the songs about Bridget, continuing to spread that good word of faith, hope, and love, and then give everyone a blessing and send them off to the parade.
So that's the civic celebration. There's a
That is.
is there a mass too, or is it a
That
parish?
is a mass beforehand, and then we'll do another version of that same mass on our Sunday morning masses as well, for those that have a busy parade morning and aren't able to join us. So we'll do very similar programming both Saturday morning and Sunday morning. I believe tickets for Saturday are sold out, so I encourage anyone who's interested to learn more and celebrate St. Patrick's Day at Old St. Pat's to join us Sunday morning. I believe it'll be done at all masses, but I think 11 a.m. we'll have a lot of music and dancers as well. And then in the afternoon, we just don't stop at Old St. Pat's. We want to welcome everyone back to our final event, Shamrock in the Block, which is held at our auxiliary space at 625 West Adams, which is a building just kitty corner from the church. And it's a really family-friendly event filled with Irish musicians, bagpipers, corned beef, Guinness, and then ton of activities for the kids, like face painters, balloon artists. It's a really family friendly event, and Irish or not, we want to invite everyone to come and celebrate with Old St. Pat's.
Well, and I should have mentioned, for those who don't know, Old St. Pat's is that considered West Loop right there? I mean, it's on the corner. It's right next to
Exactly.
the Jane Byrne. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Adams and Desplaines is our cross street, so just a little bit west of like Union Station.
Can you talk a little? It's a beautiful church, and then the architecture within, and then the aesthetics are very Irish focused or St. Patrick focused. Can
Yes,
you
so
talk?
this was built by Irish immigrants. It's the oldest public building in Chicago. It withstood the Great Chicago Fire, as many buildings around it unfortunately don't. It looks a little dirty on the outside, but that's actually just the ash from back in that time. And then the inside was done in the early 1900s by a designer called Thomas O'Shaughnessy, whose family members are actually still an active part of the church. And he took designs based off the Book of Kells, which is a very famous book, still housed at Trinity College in Dublin, that features a bunch of Celtic knots and Celtic artworks, symbols of the Bible. And so he took reference from that and painted it all over this incredible church. So truly, no matter where you look, I promise you're going to get a lovely mass and a lovely homily. But if you find yourself staring off into the distance a little bit for your first time at Old St. Pat's, we won't blame you. To be able to take in that art, there's truly something that surprises me every single time, whether it's, the four gospels in stained glass that sit just above the altar, or one of the saints that I realize is enshrined up in stained glass on the side of a wall. Depending on the time of day you come and visit us, the light hits it differently. It's a really really special place, both in word and in physicality.
Can you speak to a little bit about the history of who St. Patrick was? Because I mean, he's kind of legend. He's become he's so popular. Not become. He's been so popular with Irish
Yeah.
immigrants.
Yeah, so St. Patrick is St. Bridget's counterpart, um, the male patron saint of Ireland, and unfortunately more well known. No, I'm just kidding. But he was actually captured as a child and taken into slavery, taken away from Ireland. And that was his time when he found God and said, if I ever return to Ireland, I will bring back Catholicism to this country. I will teach everyone what I've learned, all of these wonderful things. Finally was able to escape in his teenage or like early 20 years, went back to Ireland and truly started the word of Catholicism there. He's known for two great things. The first is using the shamrock to teach everyone about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They're all around Ireland, so that symbol of three is really so important everywhere in Catholicism. But the shamrock, with its three leaves specifically, is really St. Patrick's representation of that. And then finally, in his greatest symbolic gesture, he drove all the snakes out of Ireland. So they said that one
Yeah.
day he was giving a sermon and banished all of them into the sea, bringing in religion, banishing out the bad, and his impact has stood really forevermore. It's such a special day in Ireland. I lived in Galway for a while a number of years ago,
Okay.
and to be able to live in Ireland and celebrate that day and just see what it means to the Irish. Obviously, I've celebrated it my entire life as an Irish American here in Chicago, but to get to understand it firsthand and really see how special it is to the people of Ireland, and that they get really, for a very small country, a lot of world renown for this holiday, and everyone wants to be Irish, is pretending to be Irish, and joining in with them on those celebrations means a lot to them on that tiny island.
So we have other Irish parishes, but Old St. Pat's really has kind of a unique and special role. Do you notice that? And as a parishioner, what can you share a little bit about that and what that means to you as a parishioner?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit at the start, but I think the Irish way is a way of welcoming in your neighbor. It's a way of everybody's family, whether we're related or not. And Old St. Pat's really leans into that, um, most specifically because it's not just a neighborhood parish based on its unique location, really right off the highway in a kind of different part of Chicago that doesn't necessarily have a very close neighborhood around it. There's so many people that come in from all across really the state and some of the surrounding states as well. I know I have some choir member friends who come in from Indiana. There's many people who join us via the live stream from all across the country and all across the world. And that's so important to us to continue to include those diverse perspectives and realize that the group that we have there, the community that we have there, is so special, and they're always continuing to teach us more. And that's why we've made it our mission to do the Irish thing, welcoming in our neighbors, not just at church, but also across the city. Old St. Pat's does a lot of really incredible work with our neighbors in
Right.
North Lawndale to ensure that we're creating an equitable and safe and prospering Chicago all across the board, not just here in the West Loop. And that spirit of hospitality and that kindness gets reflected every single day. And it's the reason why now that I, live in the suburbs with my husband and we're starting our family, we still continue to drive back to Old St. Pat's, because to be a member of that and know the difference that they're continuing to make, whether it's specifically related to Ireland, which happens to be many of my favorite things about Old St. Pat's, or not, there's really, really good and special work that is continuing to go on every week. It's a church that continues to grow with the times. They're learning, they're educating, and every week there feels different, and I just learned something new, which is such a gift.
I agree. We just did a story on there was a migrant collection there that the church has for a long time helped resettle refugees in the Chicago area, and then it took on a different kind of tone with all the migrants coming to Chicago, and even a different tone now that the political environment has changed a little bit. But the parish continues to have a strong social justice commitment to serving those who are on the margins like that. So
we've always been a church of immigrants. It's who founded, it's who started, and it's something that's really important to us to continue. As people are able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and find success, there's other people that are still struggling, and that's on us to reach out and say, hey, whether you're Catholic or you're Irish or not, we are here to help you. You're my brother, you're my sister, and let me know what you need. I'm here to be your friend in this time of need. And Old St. Pat's takes that very seriously. And really all of the programming that we've done, the tickets sold for Shimsa, the tickets sold for Shamrock, and I'm combining everything now. A portion of those proceeds really go back to helping the church continue our mission of social justice and equity across Chicago.
So I know a lot of things are sold out, and people can still join you for Mass of the week. There's always a live stream. For those who are listening or watching, they've been doing the live stream since before COVID, I'm pretty sure. So they have a good quality live stream.
Yes. So yes, please join us on the live stream anytime. Join us in person on Sundays. We've got 5 masses throughout the day, 7, 9, 11, 5, and 8, I believe. And then tickets will still be available at the door for Shamrock, and they're currently sold out online. Okay. But if you want to come and check it out and you're close to the area, please stop by. We're hoping to welcome in as many more people as we can, just based on how capacity allows.
And it's Old St. Pat's, .org. I forgot. I looked it up for that. OldStPats.org.
Yes, the website is oldstpats.org. If you're specifically interested in learning about our programming around St. Bridget and St. Patrick's Day, you go to oldstpats.org/Irish Heritage.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you being here. It's always fun this weekend in Chicago, and it's fun to see it celebrated with a little bit of a Catholic flair. So
yes, exactly. You can't do St. Patrick's Day without the Catholics. People forget that, but Old St. Pat's is here to remind them. So we're very, very honored to be such a part of Chicago's big day, such a fun day for the city. And thank you so much for inviting me to share a little bit about it.
Thank you, and thank you for making the time. And before you go, folks, if I want to mention that go to ChicagoCatholic.com. You can see what's going on in the local church and with Pope Francis. You can subscribe, and you can sign up for our free newsletter and follow us on social media. And have a happy St. Patrick's Day. Thanks again, Maura. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.